social problems as well. I don't know if problems is the right word to say, but they'll have trust. There might be bullying involved, and then poor anger management will be there too. I know me as a person who grew up in a domestic violence household, I have really bad trust issues. It's hard to have amazing trust when your life is so out of control. It's so inconsistent. You know, like your parents say one thing, but then something happens and something, you know, it's never consistent or a controlled environment. So trust issues are definitely something that will be evolved from that. Bullying, if all they see is bullying at home, they're going to think that's normal and bully people at school too. So those are warning signs. And then the next one would be physical. If this particular child is always frequently ill, that might be a cry for attention. If they're just tired all the time, because guess what? They stayed up until 2 in the morning listening to their parents fight. It's very unfortunate, so we just need to be aware of things like that. And then they might be lethargic. They might be so sick to their stomach that they're like, oh, I can't even eat today because guess what? I'm going to puke because my home life is very stressful. They might also have poor hygiene. The parents might be so concerned and consumed with their own life that they do not take care of their child. And if it's a child like who's 5, they're not going to think, hey, guess what? I need to take a bath before I go to school, you know. So they might not change their clothes because guess what? They might not have any new clothes to wear. And then when they have, kids develop at certain levels. When children are exposed to domestic violence, there's also involved regression. So they might regress in their development as a child and human being. And then they also might be self-abusive. They might hurt themselves because that's what they see. And they're, grown up, unfortunately, in a lifestyle where they see people respecting themselves. So, in this article, I also loved, which I think you got the point that I love everything about this article, it does give pointers for parents on how they can, that they proved, how they can, help their children when something like this is going on. Often parents are aware that it does affect their child. However, they're so consumed, or like if they do leave, that there's going to be terrible consequences to leaving. So some things that that parents can do for their child is they can show trust and respect. They should acknowledge that the children have the right to their own feelings, their friends, their behaviors, everything like that, and that the parent just needs to be there to believe in them, tell them that anything that you can do, you are going to do it because that's what you want to do. And they need to promote independence when that comes along as well. They don't need to be dependent. That was one of the social factors of the consequences of domestic violence. One other thing that they can do is provide emotional security. If you talk to your child every day like, hey, how was your day? And you express that you, as a parent, really care about your child, they will be emotionally connected to you, and that will mean the world to that child. They will feel comfortable about expressing themselves, and that whenever you as a parent who is involved in domestic violence, you just need to be gentle with that child because they have been exposed to far more things than any other child who hasn't been exposed to domestic violence. They have been exposed to that on a higher level. And then you also just need to be dependable. That's a very, very, very important thing to do as well. And then also, providing physical security. If you're the one involved in it, you need to make sure your child is not, or try to get your child out of harm's way if you know that something is going to occur. And if something does happen, attend to them, attend to their wounds, get them help. Don't just leave them there, and so in turn they don't feel like they can trust you. Also, like I said, consistency is key when children are shown domestic violence in their household. You have to be consistent. You have to make sure that the rules that you are setting as a parent are age appropriate, that is good enough for their development level, and then you need to be clear as setting limits and limitations as far as that. And if you say, man, if you do go outside and you stay out past curfew, and this is what's going to happen, and you need to be consistent and make sure that those are the consequences that do happen if and when they are one thing that you can do is also encourage and support them. Just that if they're interested in playing softball, man, let them play softball and give them time to enjoy softball. And that might be their outlet, and they might be good at it. So that's something that is very, 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 very important. And then also the last thing that I do want to stress, that unfortunately my mom never did, she never took care of herself. Obviously children who are exposed to domestic violence, they aren't taught self-respect, so they don't know how to grow up and take care of themselves, because guess what? Their mom or dad just let go and they didn't take care of themselves. They turned to drinking, they turned to smoking, they turned to drugs. They stopped getting ready because they didn't feel worth it. A lot of things that parents don't know, that when they are in a domestic violence household, that if you do let yourself go, your kids will catch on to that, and they will in turn most likely act that way and not take care of themselves. So one other thing that I did love about the article was, actually this was another article, I'm sorry. This was an article that was based out of the University of Massachusetts, and the domestic violence, as far as they did testing on what indicators, or what